What up? This is Robert Horry.
Or three-pointer. Buries it!
You might know me as Big Shot Bob.
To Horry for three. Oh, unbelievable. This guy is off the charts.
What's going on, Big Shot Bob?
Robert Horry from downtown.
All right. Here we go. Show number 2 for the week. It is the shoot-around. Robert Horry joining us on location. We got questions from listeners. We got a few discussion points to bring up from stories that didn't make it to the Big Tuesday show. If you are still in the midst of NBA free agency madness, please go check out the Tuesday show. We had a lot to talk about, Dame and all the stuff with the Lakers that got added this week, and the stuff that didn't. Just a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna start, Rob, with something that I kind of took a little offense to.
Oh,
I imagine you would too.
I thought it was something I did.
No. Look, this is somebody getting mouthy on Facebook. But I wanted to bring the point up because it's a discussion point. This was from Isaiah on Facebook. One of the clips we posted, if you're not following us on any of our socials, we were talking about what it means to contribute to a championship. Would you rather get the ring and not contribute, or would you rather contribute significantly and get your minutes and your playing time and stuff? So Isaiah said, Rob, I heard you talking about guys who didn't contribute to their chip. You won 7, but in the NBA playoffs and finals, you only averaged about 9 points and 5.9 boards, less than 6 boards. In the NBA finals, you hit a few big shots, but is that really contributing? A little bit of a shot. I mean, look, I don't read the comments that much, but I kind of took a little offense to this because I was like, I think your whole thing about you hit a few big shots is a pretty good note to saying, yeah, he contributed. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's funny that he would say something like that, but, I guarantee he's under the age of 25 or 35 where he had never seen me play in the finals and don't understand what I did, the defense I played. So I don't even take offense to it. I just think it's comical. Yeah. Because I tell people all the time, you don't argue with idiots, because if someone from the outside is looking in, you don't know which one is the idiot. And so you don't argue with idiots, man.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I wasn't trying to start an argument, but I think that no. here's where I think we have.
But you know what though? He does have a valid point. I can understand someone who's never seen the game and just looks at just goes straight look at stat lines.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
They don't understand basketball. It ain't about, stat line. At one time, I had the record for the most playoff games. At one time, I had the record for the most consecutive threes made without a miss. At one time, I had the record for most steals, which still stands to this day in the NBA Finals game. At one point, I had the most threes in NBA Finals than anybody until Steph come along. So I guess that's contributing a little bit. I don't know if that's considered a lot, but a little. But that is what it is.
Just a little bit. Here's part of it, and I think this is kind of where the younger generation, and by no means am I trying to talk down to younger generation of listeners, but a lot of people look at stat lines, and they use the stat line to kind of make their judgment on, oh, this guy must be good, or that guy wasn't that good. And so much happens on a floor in an NBA game, and this is probably true in every sport, football, baseball, that doesn't ever end up on a stat line, whether it's a big steal in a big moment or locking up somebody on defense. I mean, we replayed Gary Payton on last week's shoot-around, and he talked about the fact that he got his nickname the Glove because he was just locking down guys on defense. That often doesn't show up on a stat line, but it affects somebody else's stat line.
Yeah. They're getting rid of the basketball, or they causing someone else to do an errant pass, and there's so many things can come up like that. And for me, that's why you cannot just look at someone's stats on how they played the game, because you did that case. You look at Jeremy Lin. There's no knock on Jeremy Lin. You thought he's one of the best fucking players that ever played this game. You look at his stat line for a season, and you can't go by that. And people who don't understand the game or who watch the game. So now if I had like 3 or 4 players from each team I ever played for was to say something like that, and then it would concern me. But I don't think you can ever have a teammate I played against or played with or against or whatever to say that I just contributed, unless he mad because I kicked their ass. The team I was on kicked their ass. That's the only time you can say it.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. All right, well, I wanted to bring it up because it's an interesting point of contention. If you just look at stat lines,
it's a valid question, and it didn't upset me.
I didn't think it would, which is why I brought it up. If it was going to piss you off, I probably would have just been like, ignore. You know what I mean?
But you probably did it anyway.
I did. I put his ass on block. But you know what? I did it out of the goodness of my heart because I love Robert Horry. All right, this question comes to us from Paul on Twitter. I saw you guys had GP on the shoot-around. We just talked about that. Had Gary Payton on last week. I remember he was talking about, at the time, he was very close to helping bring a team back to Seattle. This was 2 years ago. We had GP on, and that talking point has died terribly. Do you think that Seattle should have a team again, and why haven't they done it if that's the case?
And I think it's a lot of moving parts. You think you just I got to buy a team. You got to go out and you got to vet the right people and see if you get the right ownership, if they have the right, facilities to play in. It's so many things that go into buying a team. Well, actually, putting a team in a location. I know that the infrastructure is already there, but you got to get the right ownership. You got to make sure the city and taxes and all these other things that are above my pay grade that you got to go. But I do think Seattle deserves a team. I think Vegas deserves a team.
I think Vegas is going to get a team. I don't think that's even a doubt.
I think we add 2 new teams, both put one back in Seattle, one in Vegas, and move New Orleans to the east, and do something like that. That way now teams are still balanced. And for me, because think about it, New Orleans technically is in the east, but they are in the west.
It's kind of right in the middle, but it's more. It's definitely more east than west. Yes.
Or you can put Memphis in the east if you don't want to. It's so many different things that you can do, but I definitely think we should add new teams because there's so much talent in the NBA. And I know it kind of cut out on the super teams because, guys can go play for other teams and it's whatnot, but it's coming. But it ain't going to happen in a 2-year process. It's things like that in the NBA that die down. The next thing you know, oh, shit, we got a team. You didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Seattle for me, and this is part of it, is like this. I think there's an issue in Seattle, too, there's a lot of crime in Seattle.
Is it?
Oh yeah, Seattle's I think a very high crime city. You got obviously the weather is not very cooperative in that northwestern area, but I think that when I look back at Seattle, I look back at the players that played there. I think it's less about the allure of the fans. I mean, I loved the Supersonics branding. I thought the branding was awesome. It was like in the 90s. If you had Supersonics gear, that was dope gear. Like you were happy to sport Supersonics gear. But like Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, and you had like legit superstars carrying Seattle in those days. And they were a fun team. They were a fun team to talk about. They were a fun team to play against. I guess how do you recapture that magic? You can't just kind of throw a team back in and go, hey, I mean, you got to throw some young stars in there. You got to get some names.
Well, you think about when we put Orlando and they had that draft where teams could take players from their teams. They can bring that back. That'll be interesting.
That would be fun.
Put up for the draft. Take all these vet players. So you don't come in with a bunch of, first and second year players. You said, we're going to have I forget what the draft is called. You took guys from teams and put them on a team and started a team up. So you should do that.
I would like that. That would at least give it some credence, too. You get to see what kind of pieces you get out there. But I think it's only a matter of time, by the way, till Vegas gets a team. I don't even think that's
if you had that this year. Think about it. If you had that this year, you got all these free agents rolling around like James Harden.
Oh, man.
James Harden in Seattle.
Throw his ass out in Seattle. Yeah, we don't want him in Vegas. Keep him out of Vegas. But Seattle, I'm good with you in Seattle, James. Go,
why don't you want him in Vegas, Rob?
I don't know. I mean, he's got some leanings and some things that might hamper his game and spend some time off the court. I'm speaking in vague generalities, but you know what I mean. Vegas makes enough money without James Harden out there throwing James Harden money around. But yeah, no, Vegas 100% will get a team. There will be 4 professional teams in Vegas probably in the next 5 years, no doubt. Because now they've got the A's. Obviously, they got the Knights just won the damn Stanley Cup, the Golden Knights. Yeah. So it's only and then the Raiders playing in that big UFO
ship. Death Star.
Yeah, the Death Star. Yeah, holy crap, that stadium. God, it's a beautiful looking stadium, but
yes, it is.
What do you think of putting a black stadium in the middle of the desert? It just absorbs heat. Just absorbs.
Hey, I bet you they're probably doing something with that heat absorption produced to some kind of energy. They got something they're doing with that white reason it's black.
You'd hope, but they're not in California, so calm down a little bit. California has to do all that shit to turn this into that, make this green and all that. So All right, this last question before we move on to some of our topics comes to us from Derek at our Gmail. You weren't here last week when the news broke about the Mark Zuckerberg-Elon Musk fight. Did you hear about that? That these two billionaires,
I heard
the battle of the billionaires.
Yeah.
And we talked about it a little bit, but if there were two celebrities or NBA players you would love to just throw in a ring and let them fight, celebrity deathmatch style, who would you let go at it?
Oh, shit.
Because I'm telling you, I would watch Jordan fight Isaiah Thomas. I would watch that. I would watch it. Just because to this day, they both still hate the other person. They both still think they're dicks. Yeah, they both don't like each other. Now, they're old men. But so it's like, I don't want them to hurt each other terribly, but I would watch Jordan fight Isaiah.
It's funny you said. I was trying to think of a female deathmatch. I want to see some hair pulling.
Oh, man, you went to the cat fight road. Oh, yeah, God bless.
Cat fight. Hey, I'm not, and people say, look at him, want girls to fight. But no, I think it'll be me and you know who.
Oh, you and
I'm calling myself me and Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge? Oh,
and the celebrity death match.
Dude, I would. Yeah, that's the thing too. That's what I think that people are missing. If you have the right person facing off against somebody they don't like, people will pay money to see that. Like, I don't think there's any love lost between Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. They will legit try to beat the shit out of each other for bragging rights. I would love to watch that. Yeah, I would love to watch that. We'll have to think about that some more. That's a fun one.
You know, just do the owners. Mark Cuban versus the Clippers owner.
Oh, versus Steve Ballmer?
Yeah, two billionaires right there.
I like that, actually. That's really good. Yeah. Ballmer's like, but he's like this ball of energy. I don't know how that would translate to fighting. Like, he feels to me like he'd be a manic fighter. He's got no like style or no like real substance. He's just like a swing wildly and hope you hit something kind of a fight. You know what I mean? Last week we had a moment in sports history. I didn't know if you heard it or so. I'm going to play the audio real quick. It might be tricky for you to hear over the Zoom, but this is Domingo German of the New York Yankees threw a perfect game. Here's the audio.
Grounded to third. Donaldson has it. There it is. Perfection for Domingo German.
Domingo German threw the 24th perfect game in Major League Baseball history last week. It was a little piece of it's just very cool. Anytime you get to watch, we've talked about this before, like when LeBron broke the scoring record. It's cool to watch history, but it raised an interesting question. What's the best single performance by a player that you remember watching in any sport? Just like a single player, not by a team, but by like one person that you watched and you were just like, God bless, that might be one of the best I've ever seen.
Is it like watch it as it happens or look back upon it?
Oh, you can look back upon it. Yeah. Just a one that you watched that you were just like, damn.
I think when I this watching Dream just annihilate David up close for not just one game, but for like 6 straight games, man, was kind of awesome. And then also what Klay Thompson did. I think he took 6 dribbles and still scored 60. What was how many points he scored?
Oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, when Dre,
yeah, that's crazy. And if you really want to take it to another next level, is what Vince Young did against USC. He pretty much knew what was going to happen, and Vince Young still killed USC.
Couldn't do nothing about it.
Couldn't do nothing about it, man. It's just it's so many though. That's a problem, man. You can sit back, just like we was talking about the top college players ever, and then the next day, this guy. It's so many performances, man. But if I have to pick one, I think VY's performance.
VY's a good one.
His performance was unreal, man.
There was a game that Randy Moss played in, and I don't have the stat in front of me, but he had 3 receptions for 3 touchdowns and 277 yards or something like that. He caught 3 balls and ran them all the way down the field, and they were the only 3 receptions he had in the game, if I'm not mistaken. But but he caught three balls for 3 touchdowns and 270-something yards.
It's so many great performances by so many great athletes.
Oh God, yeah, you can't even single them out. There's been so many. I remember the ones that I watched. I remember I watched that game, and it was just like, somebody stop this man. He's unstoppable. and I also watched the Jordan flu game, and I think a lot of that had to do with the media hype around it. Just because everybody blew, oh, Jordan's so sick. Oh, he might not start. Oh, he's sweating. He's got the towel on his head on timeouts and stuff. But he was spectacular in that game. And I don't know how much of that was just kind of blown out of proportion, though.
I know that, but I think about that, too, because if you as sick as you say you are, your ass ain't going to have that much damn energy. I don't care if you freaking Superman. I know he Black Jesus, but come on, man. Yeah. You wasn't that sick, man.
No. That screamed like Jordan hangover game to me. You know? It's like,
hey, that seemed like, damn, I thought I had 3 glasses of wine when I actually had 30.
Oh, yeah. After that second bottle, I kind of blacked out, and I don't know where I ended up. But, yeah, if you ever have it, hit us up, by the way, on Twitter and Instagram or at the Gmail account. Who was your favorite single performance by an athlete that you got to watch, that you watched? I would love to hear other people weigh in on that. Larsa Pippen. I don't bring this up to crap on her and Marcus Jordan because we've talked about that plenty. But there's a point here I wanted to bring up. Hopefully you can hear this audio. This is the two of them started a podcast. I want to get it right. It's called Separation Anxiety. And Larsa Pippen brings up the fact, and I didn't know this. I'm not really paying attention. She has an OnlyFans account. Okay, good for her. So be it. I didn't even know it was a thing. But apparently her being with Marcus Jordan has been bad for business on her OnlyFans account. So this is her and Marcus talking about it.
How do you feel about my OnlyFans account, and would you ever want me to delete it? Because I would.
No, I mean, look, like I said, I don't have an issue with it.
You like it, but you don't really like it.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I think as long as it makes you happy and you enjoy it, and look, I think it's a source of income for you. Like, I would never want to, block your success or your, well-being. And so, I think as long as you enjoy it and,
by the way,
use it as a career.
It's not good for business since I've been with you.
Well, hey, that's not my fault. I don't blame me.
Literally, the people that write me on there are like not happy that I'm in a relationship with you, but it's fun.
All right. So, by the way, they need audio help on their podcast. God bless. The audio is terrible. Reach out. We do this professionally, Larsa. So the point was, she said it's bad for business because she's with Marcus now. And I guess, this is again what I've read about OnlyFans. I've never been on it. I really don't know. But apparently you get, like, if you're a girl on there, people will message you and buy you shit and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's a wild little thing. Like, you can get fans, you put up wish lists and stuff. It's this thing. And then...
Can I start one? So I can get some free shit?
That's what I'm screaming. Now, we're not sexy. That's our problem. Now, well, I'm not. I don't want to speak for you, but,
Hey, as long as you sexy in your mind, that's all that counts. Because I'm sure that they on that they ain't sexy, and they still get some shit. Well, because there's something for someone. There's something for some of everybody out there.
So here's the other thing. The question came up. Do you want me to take it down? Is what she asked Marcus. And Marcus says, I don't care. If you like it and it's a source of income for you and it makes you happy, I don't care. Would it bother you if your lovely wife had an OnlyFans where she was posting some risque pictures and maybe she was making a few bucks, but would it bug you?
Hey, if she making 7 figures, she can keep that shit up. Okay. But if you ain't making more than me.
Okay, so the line of demarcation is a 7-figure number. Okay. See, my wife Shannon, my beautiful wife Shannon, brought up a great point. She goes, you don't have to get naked. There are people on OnlyFans that there are accounts where beautiful women sit at a table and eat food. And that's their account. They sit and they eat, and people pay a subscription for that account to watch beautiful women eat food. And I'm like, you could sit at our kitchen table and eat food all day. Go make 40, 50 grand. Go knock yourself out, man.
Exactly. The content is the most important thing. It depends on the content. Now, if you're on there selling used underwear or showing a little nipple.
I
or
think a
something
lot
like
of
that.
people are doing that, though. That's the problem. Like, OnlyFans has become like a porn account, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What was that? What were those pages people had back in the day? It's like the pages where you need to go find like the black web and all that kind. What do you call those? And they use almost like the yellow pages, but for bad stuff.
Oh,
But-
I mean, like Reddit still exists, and you can find pretty much anything in the world on Reddit and 4chan and all these other things.
Yeah, see that stuff like that is out of my wheelhouse. I know nothing about. When I hear OnlyFans, I always think it's girls in lingerie showing nip gear.
Because that's what it's mostly publicized as, and to the point, that's where people make most of their money. And I think that Larsa Pippen was posting a lot of that type of stuff for obvious reasons. She's a beautiful woman.
Rob Jenner's had a? Oh shit! You got an OnlyFans account, dude?
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
What is it? Pictures of us doing this podcast? I do this podcast shirtless again afterwards, and then it's yeah, no, not at all. All right, let's go with this one. Big changes at ESPN. We talked about this on the Tuesday show. A lot of people got fired at good old ESPN. Have you ever been fired from a job? I guess outside the NBA. Obviously, we can't count the NBA, but have you ever been fired from a job?
My first job ever was I was a lifeguard, and then in college I used to work for ST Bun Construction Company, and so then my next job was the NBA. So I've only had 3 jobs my whole entire life. I tried to get a job. I had to try to get a job at Mickey D's when I was in high school, and they told me no. And I said, why? They said, because you're not going to be here that long. We want some long-term employees. I was like, well, fuck you. I'm out. I'm like, you're going off to college in 2 months. I'm trying to make some college money before I go. They wouldn't give me
Wait a minute, McDonald's it wants a long-term employee? Come on.
That's what they, at the time.
How
That's
many
what they
people
told
go in and out of a McDonald's all the time? I mean, there's.
Well, those are people they don't know their future, so they knew I was leaving, so they didn't give me a job.
Yeah, the only one I've ever been fired from was 99X here in Atlanta. But when you work in radio, you have this anticipation that you're going to get fired a couple of times. It just comes with the turf and radio. Radio and TV. If those are your jobs exclusively, yeah, you're going to get fired.
So what happens when they don't renew your contract? Is that like a firing?
I guess not really, because that's just we chose not to renew your contract. You're going to move on. I got fired in the middle of a contract.
Oh,
I got shown the door because the radio station wasn't doing well, and they're like,
I guess I got fired twice then, because being traded is like being fired somewhat. So
I kind of, yeah. If you've got time left on your deal, yeah. When you get bounced, you get traded off. It's kind of like getting fired.
How about this? Got fired once and had to go back to that stinking job.
Yeah, well.
But this is the only time I wasn't the one tucking my tails. They were tucking their tails and apologizing.
We're sorry. Our bad. Yeah, it's fun. All right, last thing, and then I'm gonna cut you loose, and we'll wrap it up for the shoot around this week. This was posted by The Volume on Twitter. It's a start bench cut, and it was interesting to me because you got 3 players. They're all timers. So let's hear you start bench cut. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Who do you start? Who do you bench? Who do you cut? That's very tough.
That's very tough.
That's very, very tough.
And if you're making me answer this question, I'm cutting Steph.
Wow.
Only reason I'm cutting Steph because get your little ass out of here. You too little for my team.
Oh, wow.
I want 6'9" and above, dog.
Wow.
So that's
okay.
I want long, lengthy guys who can defend everybody.
Okay.
So I'm cutting Steph. And then I'm bringing LeBron off the bench. I'm rocking with KD as my starter.
Okay. I've got the same starter as you. I've got KD starting, but I'm flip-flopping. I'm cutting LeBron. And I love LeBron James. I'm not cutting him for the longevity of his career. I'm saying he's at this point where he's got, how old is LeBron? 38?
So you're talking about right now. I thought you were talking about
no,
right
not
now,
at their prime. Today. Start bench cut today.
Yeah, I'm cutting. I'm the same one as you then.
Okay, yeah, I could bring Steph off the bench for the big threes when I need them. I think Durant, and this is not a shot at LeBron James by any stretch. I think Durant gives you a little bit more different facets than LeBron does. You know what I mean? He's a little longer. He's got a, little bit,
now, if you asked me
little
this
bit
question
younger.
7 years ago, it definitely LeBron's my starter,
That's a different story. If you go in their prime, in their prime, I don't know how you start anybody but LeBron James.
Exactly.
I mean, and again, I'm going to do the same thing you did. I'm going to start LeBron. I'm going to bring Durant off the bench, and I'm going to cut Steph. Even in his prime, LeBron can do all those things.
It is the funny part. Now you're going to get people to call, oh, you're a Steph hater. I'm like, no, I'm not a Steph hater.
No.
This is my team, and I won't link.
You want size. You always say that, though, because you don't like when NBA teams go small.
I want size because I want some offensive rebounds because nobody's perfect. I know Steph damn near is perfect when he plays, but I want someone to give me some offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I'm in the same boat as you, but hard to ever say that I'm gonna cut LeBron James. Jesus Christ!
Hey,
what is wrong
it's hard
with me?
to say. We just sat here and just all willy nilly just cut best shooter ever played the damn game.
I know.
Yeah, we gonna cut
Guy's got
Steph.
more points than anybody ever played. I was like, yeah, kick rocks, asshole.
Cut Steph. He's washed up.
Get your ass out of here,
23s a game instead of 28 now. He's washed up.
Hey, might as well. He's practically an old man. He's 38. He's 7 years younger than me. I'm like, hey, he's old.